let's dive into Wag the Dog. This was a movie that you were like, we're going to do this for Patreon. You were kind of excited.
What did I say? I'm like, it's going to blow your mind.
It's going to blow my mind. It did blow my mind.
It's fucking crazy.
I really didn't know what it was going to... Again, a movie I went in pretty blind. And then watched it. I'm sitting there going, there's no way this hasn't actually happened. This has actually happened.
It's 100%
There's no
happened.
fucking way this hasn't happened before.
To a T, almost.
And whoever was the I know it's based on a book that apparently is quite a bit different and received differently.
Yeah.
But whoever was involved in this film, there was some insider knowledge to events that either happened or...
Doesn't it seem that way?
It's 100%.
It's too. You watch it and you're like, whoa! It's almost spooky.
You can look at events that have happened in our country's history that almost line up with these details in this movie. But explain the plot a little bit for those unfamiliar.
So it's. I think it starts off with maybe a. Does it start off with the political ad?
Yeah, much like Bulworth.
And it's like a really hacky. I think it's two jockeys, and they're like, my dad always said. Because it's they're re-electing the president. You never change horses in midstream.
By the way, I have to say, brilliant masterstroke in this movie is you never see the president.
See it from behind.
You see, like, you don't. It's not an actor playing him.
Yeah, you never see him. Really,
he's not part of the story. Great,
so good.
It's perfect because you don't. It would completely needlessly complicate the story.
Yep. All of a sudden, he'd be a character,
and it would be it would not work.
Yeah, it's really good, but it starts off with that, and then like it kind of cuts to like the White House, and there's a guy showing up there with this great frumpy hat, another great character, like a little great visual choice, and they're like, "Oh, he's here, Mr. Fix-It," and it's De Niro as this character Conrad Breen, Breen or Bream?
I think it's Breen.
I think it's Breen
because it reminded me of Neil Breen.
Yes.
Yeah, Breen, Conrad Breen.
So you're not quite sure what's going on, who he is, what's happening. And they like lead him like into the basement of the White House almost, and it turns out he's there to kind of like help bury a scandal. There was a group of Firefly girls, which is that a real thing?
I have no idea.
They're like Girl Scouts. I guess they're teens though.
It's so fucking scummy.
What the president is being accused of? I forget. They call it sexual misconduct. It's not assault.
You don't. Yeah, they don't really. They kind of dance around.
They dance around that he went, and I love how like there's this one line where they go, that room behind the White House or behind the Oval Office. Like they imply
it's all known. There's like a hidden closet. Yeah.
He was in there for 2 minutes 58 seconds or 3 minutes or something, and then like the girl's accusing him of something sexual, and the De Niro character is there to fix it, Mr. Fix-It.
Yeah,
and just right off the bat, I would kill for this to be my job. This
political fixer.
Oh my God, dude. And just the way the movie unfolds after, that's the general premise. They're there to bury the story. The election's in 11 days, I think. How do they get this out of the news? How do they solve this problem and get the president reelected?
But Conrad's plan to do this is to orchestrate a fake war. And to do this, he brings in a Hollywood producer, played by Dustin Hoffman, Stanley Motz, who... Robert Evans, I mean,
visually
got to
for
be
sure.
some of that similarities.
Yeah.
Because I think whenever you're like, let's just do like the visionary movie producer from this era, you got to go with the Robert Evans comparison.
You take his look, of course.
And goddamn, is this a great... I mean, De Niro's good, but Hoffman shines completely. Is so fun in this movie.
The two of them are really good together.
They are. They have great chemistry. And
it's really funny hearing this because I was watching the movie and I'm like, Dustin Hoffman's great in this movie. And I thought to myself, I'm like, all right, Joe doesn't like him. So to hear you say that is interesting.
You're
coming around?
I have come around with Dustin Hoffman. I just don't like that early in his career, like that, like mopey kind of like the Graduate type Dustin Hoffman stuff. But like after doing Ishtar, and I saw him kind of be the confident, especially with Warren Beatty, like you had that. This is coincidentally why we're doing these two movies.
In that movie?
Yeah, it was just like he was the ladies' man of the two of them, and it was just a fun juxtaposition. And yeah, after that, I'm like, all right, yeah, you gotta. There's something else I recently saw him. No, it wasn't Megalopolis, but I forget what I saw him in recently. But I'm like, you know what? When I see him doing more nuanced and different kinds of film roles, I turn around on it, and he's great here. And it's so nice because he has this whole team of like Hollywood people that come in and people we love, like Andrea Martin, and it's just great. Another great ensemble cast, and they're all good. And Hayes is good. It's a fucking smart movie.
It's really fucking
smart. Very smart.
That's the thing that we were talking about Bulworth. It gets a little into like the answer is this. Whereas this movie does not, it's not telling you anything about, it's telling you this is the process. and this is how things get manufactured.
It kind of reminds me a little bit of Canadian Bacon. Canadian Bacon
Well, is it like a fake war too?
A fake war that they orchestrate to kind of
directed by Michael Moore.
Michael Moore to get a president's, I think, approval ratings up or something like that, because it really dives deep into just how dirty politics is.
Well, it's that too, and it's just it really lays it out beautifully how easily you can use the media to manipulate anything,
right?
Essentially, so that's what the movie. If anything, it's more so about that than politics.
Yeah.
But
there's a couple. I always talk about things I dislike in film, and one of the elements is when filmmaking is misrepresented.
Mm-hmm.
There is a scene involving a blue screen where I'm almost like, that's not how blue screens work, and that
it's a little too easy. But
yeah.
it's you get there quicker.
And I'm willing to forgive a lot because you look at the time this movie takes place when technology and when the internet wasn't really a thing. Because this is. My brain, the whole movie was like, someone would talk. Okay. Someone behind the scenes would talk. Someone behind the scenes would leak.
Totally. That's the only part of the movie where otherwise you would.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. I can. Let's start a little. Like, I will get to that because I want to address that. But so yeah, they get the idea. It's like, okay, we're gonna start a fake conflict with Albania. And it's great too because like the question keeps coming up: why Albania? It's like, why not? Mm-hmm. What do you know about Albania? Nothing.
Belushi.
Yeah, Belushi.
Who, by the way, there's a great fucking payoff to that.
Yeah, there is.
Someone I usually don't like who
it's good.
Masterstroke in this movie.
But it's like, what do you know about him? Nothing. It's like, yeah, what are they up to over there? Who knows what they're doing? Do they like us? Do they hate us? Mm-hmm. What's their problem, actually? And it's brilliant. It's like, it's playing with that ambiguous nature. You can make anything at that point. It doesn't really matter. And so they get that, but he wants to, the De Niro character wants to enlist some Hollywood help. Mm-hmm. So he flies out to this palatial estate and gets Dustin Hoffman's character on board. Super funny scenes where he's like, well, didn't you read his book? Or he signs the book to him. Or it's really good.
He didn't even read it. Yeah, he just has it sitting on his shelf somewhere.
It's like, but I read when he signed it here.
It's just the title of the book, I think. He rewrote the title of the book as his inscription.
But so he gets him on board, and then Dustin Hoffman brings in his crew, which you said is great. You got Andrea Martin, who's kind of like, what was she, like a PR person?
I think
almost?
So, yeah.
I love Dennis Leary's character, just called the Fad King.
The Fad King, who wears a long coat and just storms around broods around.
Great character, though. Then Willie Nelson, too, is like this songwriter to come in.
That's another great...
Yeah.
Here's the thing about it, though. It's every aspect they have thought out into how to manufacture this conflict.
Yes.
Because it's not just the war they're doing. There has to be the inspirational song. Mm-hmm. There has to be the war hero. Mm-hmm. There has to be all this stuff that they look at past conflicts that realize...
There has to be the thing you wear, because I love it. It's like, well, what about a ribbon? Desir's like, fuck that. Aid's got the ribbon. We're not doing the ribbon.
Right.
It's like, what about an armband?
An armband, yeah. That's green. That could work.
Not Kelly Hunter green.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I'm saying.
It's like a focus group war, and it's a great concept. It really is.
And they pull it off.
Yeah.
That's this probably is in my top 10. I love this movie. So enjoyable.
At this point, dude, your top 10 is...
But the movie's 97 minutes. Mm-hmm. It fucking moves. It's interesting the whole way through. It's got a semi-tragic ending. Very bittersweet because it doesn't even matter. Like, they get him reelected, but he probably molested some teenage girl in the Oval Office. Like,
that's the thing at the end of the movie. You're like, oh, they did. Oh, wait, but is that good that they did it?
Right.
Who am I?
Right. And it's like, it's one of those things where De Niro is really good in the movie. It's his whole concept of reality, because people keep saying like, well, that didn't happen. He's like, what do you mean? The TV just told me it did. They're like, yeah, but we know it didn't. He's like, it doesn't matter. It's there now. So that means it's real.
It shows you just how quick. I mean, I'm sure, again, it's a movie doing a political event, so you can't be certain this is how quickly people have access. But when Conrad first meets up with Stanley,
Hoffman's like, how close are you guys to this?
Can we start changing his, and he makes a phone call.
John Michael Higgins' character is giving a press conference.
And he's like, tell him to say this. And it's just, he right there. So he really starts to change from the very basic elements of this campaign. He really starts to just certain words that, and even that, he's like, he didn't deliver it quite. He didn't sell it. The rest of this episode is available exclusively on our Patreon at patreon.com/almostcultclassics.